Hello, everyone. It's us again with Felicia and Jen. I'm Felicia.
And I'm Jen.
And we're not going to talk too much because we're ready for this to start. Right. Jen, let us know what's happening.
We're going to have our first heated debate today. We have Liz and we have Rachel. All right. We're going to try and keep them separated. So we're going to talk about...
It's a hostile situation.
We're going to talk about the trial of Karen Reed. To give you a little bit of a background, she was accused of hitting her boyfriend with her vehicle in the middle of a night, a snowy night, and left him there to die. So there was some alcohol involved. It was an interesting trial. So I figured what we can do first is maybe start with Liz, and then she can kind of give her side of things. And then, oh, there's some fingers flying.
Yes, it's a hostile environment here, y'all.
And then Rachel. And although I did watch the docuseries, I'm a little bit biased, I guess, because I kind of know what's going on. And it was definitely on the Karen side of things. They favored her. I think Felicia should be.
I know nothing.
Of course, this isn't real court.
Yep. We're not lawyers. We're not judges. But we have opinions.
Let Felicia decide whether or not she thinks. So you got to sell this, guys. You are the defense and the prosecution. So. Okay.
All right, Liz. Let's go with it.
I go first?
Yeah.
Yes.
She's geared up. She's geared up to take me down. So to set the scene, Karen Reed was accused of essentially murdering her boyfriend. They were at a bar with friends. Also, her boyfriend was a police officer. Friends with all the other police officers in Boston. They were at a bar, like all night drinking. He said, "Let's go back to my friend's place. I want to hang out." She says, "I don't really think I want to, but I'll take you." She takes him to the house, drops him off, waited about 10 or so minutes. He did not come back out of the house because he was supposed to go in and say, "Oh, you should come in. Like these people are here, blah, 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 whatever." He doesn't come out of the house, so she drives away. It's a snowstorm, lots of snow on the ground. Midnight, I think it was just past midnight or something like that. She's calling him, he's not picking up. She's texting him, he's not answering. She's like, "Fuck this."
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. She goes back to his house where she lives with him and then is still angrily calling him, texting him all night, no answer. Eventually at 4 a.m., she's like, "You know what? He hasn't answered. I should go at least just check on him." She goes to the house. They're like, "No, he's not here." Starts driving around the city. Can't find him. There's footage of her doing this. There's footage of her driving around the city, checking things out. There's footage of her leaving the bar. There's footage of them at the bar. When she goes back to the house, all of the police friends that were in the house come out and are like, "Oh my God, here he is in the yard, buried under the snow. He's dead. His body is here." She freaks out. She's like, "Oh my God, could I have hit him?" She says it out loud. It's on police body cam. "Did I hit him?" She's like, "Did I hit him? Did I hit him?" They called the police, blah, blah, investigation. At the trial, it is brought to the attention that after she dropped him off, his Apple Watch has him taking flights of stairs, which means he was in the house at some point. He was not hit by a vehicle. They proved that the Apple Watch data could not have come from him being hit by a vehicle because he declined and rose in elevation, took over 100 steps, something like that. It was maybe 5 steps they thought he had took when they backed in. They also found that her taillight was broken. They claim that the taillight was broken by her backing into him. Number one, she wasn't going fast enough. Number two, there's footage of her when she goes back to his house after not being able to get in touch with him. When she leaves again, she backs into his car. There's footage of it on a ring camera. And breaks her taillight. And then goes to the scene. However, the real kicker here is that it's corruption from the police department. Because the people's house that she was at, they claim he never came in the house. His DNA's in the house. They claim they didn't know anything about it. He didn't even know that she showed up to drop him off. One of the women, a wife of a police officer who lived there, her name is Jen. She has Google searches on her phone that she deleted suspicious enough. Why are you deleting Google searches from your phone? At around 2 a.m, she Googled how long does it take a body to die in the cold, and then deleted it from her phone. She claims Karen showed up and said, can you search on your phone how long it takes a body to die in the cold? Why would you do that? There's also no evidence that this happened. This is in a time period where Karen wasn't even at the house because she's at John's house, as evident by ring camera footage. John had scratches on his arm when they found him. They claimed it was from where he hit the taillight, and it broke the taillight. Number one, they were like just straight line scratches. So it's like, if anything, I feel like he'd have a puncture wound. Many experts testified that was likely not from the taillight. What they did find, however, is that the Alberts, the house that they were at, had a German Shepherd that had a history of biting people. They found pig DNA in the cuts on John's arm. And pig DNA is what rawhide dog toys are made out of, which were found in the Alberts' home that the dog used. Within a year of this incident happening, the dog was given away, rehomed, out of nowhere. This was their family dog. They had had him for years and years and years. And also within the year, the Alberts sold their house that they had been living in for most of their married life. Then, one of the lead investigators that claimed the taillight got broken from hitting John O'Keefe, they found evidence that he had been texting Karen, really forceful, flirty messages, and then afterwards also texting other police officers about the case, saying that she's crazy, putting down her character, this and that. Then the judge in the trial was found to have been related to some of the Alberts and other people that testified at the time. I think that's everything, but I'll let Rachel go.
So Liz, she's innocent.
She's completely innocent.
Rachel, go for it.
By the way, thank you for keeping your cool.
Thank you, Rachel, for just sitting there.
I like Liz. If this was somebody across the table,
if this was somebody that I didn't like, I would have been seething probably. But I will say this first and foremost for everyone listening. I don't not agree with Liz. That's not what's happening here. But I also know that through my many years of experience, okay.
I had an episode about this in the past. So it's very, very
I'm a repeat offender on this podcast at this point. But in my experience of drinking, I have hit things that I did not know I hit until the next day.
Not people, though. We're gonna say that.
Not statute of limitations is up on those.
Yeah. So I'm okay anyway. But I have hit things. I have busted out my windshield. I have done these crazy things and not gone to bed and not even realized that it happened. So when I was going through, now, do I think that it's double jeopardy? Absolutely. I don't think that she should have had to go through this twice. I do think that there is some extra government hands at play that should not be involved. There's too many hands in the pot. But it is a huge possibility that that woman hit him with her vehicle, or his vehicle, actually. It was his vehicle. And didn't even know it. Because number one, the weather outside was insane. Number two, again, she had been drinking. There is a possibility that she hit him and had no idea that she hit him. And tell me there's not. Tell me there's not.
There's always a possibility that she hit him, but
yes, there is.
What evidence points to her hitting him versus him being?
Absolutely none. You are correct about that. Scientifically, there is no evidence stating. But if I'm sitting in a vehicle, just point of view. Okay, I'm sitting in a vehicle.
Busted windshield. I'm sitting in a vehicle drunk.
No, I'm sitting in a vehicle. Me and you have gone out. Okay, we went to the bar. I had however many drinks. Okay, you get out of the vehicle. to go check about who's inside, which is weird, number one, because why was he going inside by himself just to case out who's in the joint? Because they were at the bar with these same people. So wouldn't they know?
I think it was, this is kind of unrelated, but I think it was something about swingers. Like, she thought they were, like, swinging.
Oh, so she was weirded out.
And she didn't want to go in if they were doing that, yeah.
I mean, valid. I wouldn't want to either.
So if I'm going in checking if they're swingers.
So you're going to check if they're swingers.
You're not interested in swingers.
Weren't the lights out in the house? That's
yes.
what she said.
That's what
that's
she
why
said.
she said
the only light that was on was a side porch light. Like if you visualize it, like if somebody has a basement and then they have one of those little like lights.
Like almost like a garage side door type situation.
Right. That was the only light that was on, according to her.
Right.
According to her.
Drunk.
Again,
True.
right. She could
have been looking at a different house.
I'm sitting in the vehicle waiting for you to come out. I'm not staring directly at that door. Okay? So I'm scrolling on Facebook. I'm texting my ex-girlfriend or boyfriend. You know what I mean? Like, I'm doing something else. I'm not staring directly at the door waiting for you to come back out because I'm expecting you to just come back out. So in terms, why would she be staring at the door waiting for him to come out? He could have came out without her even knowing about it.
So
Did I fluster you?
if there was corruption with the police department, what is the motive? Why kill him?
There is none, though. I think, personally, he went to the house. They were doing drugs of some type, whether that's cocaine, whatever. Obviously, they're all police officers, firefighters. They don't want to get caught doing this. Maybe he OD'd, but did they do a toxicology report? I don't think they did.
That's also another, I mean, this becomes an issue with the trial too, because the trial was messed up anyway. But like, I mean, they collected evidence in red Solo cups, like blood. They collected blood evidence in red Solo cups and then like put them in a paper bag, like not even an evidence bag.
It was like a Wendy's bag.
Didn't even log it. And then they were asked about it on trial and he was like, I don't know. And they were like, haven't you been doing this for like 20 years? And he was like, yeah. Like, the whole thing just gives like, we're playing dumb. And like, it was a fellow police officer, so they're not going to point fingers at the police. But like, on every level, there's like something up with each of them.
So I think, with watching the docuseries that I did, it's a tough pill to swallow to think that it would be a cover up. Because you got to believe that the police are all corrupted and the judge is all corrupted. But
that's another thing.
Right. So that you would have to, if you say she's not guilty, you have to believe there's corruption. But then there were some things that you didn't mention that I thought were very interesting about the butt dialing. Like all three, there was three people butt dialing each other that night, and then there was like a 22-second conversation, but they were all butt dialing each other. Yeah. So who does that? Like how often do you think that happens?
And I'm pretty sure in the thing they even say like, it's almost impossible to butt dial somebody now. Like,
right.
You don't just butt dial people on
iPhones
because you have to unlock it.
The other guy, the one that was butt dialed, the two guys that were butt dialing each other, because the one guy butt dialed the other one. They had the 22-second conversation, and then that guy butt dialed the other one back. Right. And it was all by accident. The guy that made the second call, he disposed of his phone. Remember that?
He literally like destroyed it or something.
Yeah, he put it in a dumpster on some kind of military base. And he said it was because somebody was stalking him or something like that. He said he took the SIM out, broke it, and then put that phone and the SIM in the dumpster.
And so his phone could not be collected for evidence.
No.
Sorry. I destroyed it. So it's like Tom Brady Deflategate, where he's like,
it's like there's a lot of people that have secrets.
There's a lot of
secrets, and I think because she's the girlfriend, because sometimes it's easy. If something happened to your fiance, you are going to be the first person that they're going to come after.
And they were fighting. And I mean, like she admitted it too. Like they weren't like
She also admitted
trouble.
She also admitted that their relationship was quite disastrous. Like it was not a perfect, oh my gosh, we love each other all the time. We never fight. We never do this. We never blah, blah, blah. No, she said straight up, we are at each other's throats.
She was texting another man.
Yeah. So
another cop, I think, or something.
I think
it was a cop.
I think it is a mixture of her not being 100% truthful from the jump of their relationship, and it just trickled down to now everybody is not being 100% truthful. Because I fully believe in the corruption of the law enforcement and of judges even. There's too many hands that are in the pot now, and it's getting to the point where it's weird. But I still can't shake the fact that I personally,
Liz is going to fall out of her chair.
I personally have hit things. I have busted out my whole windshield and gone.
Just to make it clear, she's admitted this. So if something happens,
Rachel did it.
Well, isn't that
if
like
my
a
car
thing?
ends up destroyed in the parking lot,
I would never.
There's a
touch
name for that. Like when you say, so like when you write a book about a murder and then you murder someone and then it's like it gets you out of it away. It's kind of like
That's happened quite a few times.
But there's a name for it? Oh gosh,
it's like a butterfly effect kind of.
No, it's not even that. There's a legal term for it. Where if you write a story about murdering your husband and then he actually gets murdered, it's a way to say like, why would I write a book about it?
Yeah.
And
yes,
then do it.
because they say like,
you guys should chat.
Because they say like they've tried to use that as evidence in cases before.
Yeah,
where it's like, well, you wrote the manual for it, and they're like, well, no, I'm a writer. Like that proves that I like don't have motive because I can just write about it and not actually do it because they'll do it and then like 10 years later.
Yeah,
because they found like I just watched one like not that long ago where it was like, oh, they found a blog a lady had written about like how to murder your husband. And she murdered her husband. And she was like, oh, no, that was, like, for fun.
I was just, there was it. O.J. Simpson did the same thing.
I was going to say, O.J. did the same thing.
That was after he was acquitted of it.
Now,
if I did it.
Is this
if I did it. That's what it was. If I did it.
Oh, yeah.
Is this case considered closed?
Yeah, she's not guilty.
They had a second trial.
She is not guilty.
So could it be reopened and is someone else
no,
suspect?
That's
someone else.
Someone else, yes.
Okay.
But they can't triple jeopardy her at this point. Like, it would look very fishy.
Yeah, I think we forgot to mention she had a trial. There was a hung jury, but they acquitted her of either the murder or the manslaughter. One of the two, they completely acquitted her of. They were like, I think it was the murder, because they were like, it still might be manslaughter. Right. But all 12 jurors voted she was not guilty of murder, but they were hung on manslaughter. And so
because why? Because why?
There's not a reasonable doubt that she didn't hit her boyfriend.
But you're right. You're right.
Oh, you know what?
They
went back to trial, and she's not guilty.
That's right.
Yeah.
There's still not reasonable. There's
not reasonable doubt, because if there was reasonable doubt, they would have voted her guilt. It would have been a
There's different jurors. It's different jurors.
Yeah, exactly. You could do it 20 different times.
Different people are going to feel different ways.
She's not guilty.
That's why you can't get tried twice.
It is double jeopardy.
Because you can't get tried for the same crime twice.
Yeah, they tried to they were like, because her lawyers were like, because they just declared it a mistrial, and they were like, we're going to do it all over again, like all of it. And her lawyers were like, well, okay, but can we take out the murder then? Because she's already been proven not guilty of that by a jury. And they were like, no. So technically, it's already double jeopardy.
Yeah, well, that's what I was saying.
Yeah.
Technically, they did do her dirty.
Yeah.
But doing it a third time, that would be proof of corruption in the system if they did it a third time.
But here's why I'm also convinced that it has something to do with the police, because I think granted, it just happened, but you're not really hearing about it. I think it would prove completely that it was someone in the police or some sort of corruption, because if they don't continue to investigate this and actually find out what happened, then that proves they're like, okay, well, we don't want to get into it then because we're afraid what we might find.
So I actually have a question for you that I've been thinking about all day. It's the same as Felicia asked. What is the motive? What was the motive behind someone doing something to him?
I mean, they were so drunk. It's like you're saying, though, like, you're so drunk you hit someone, you don't realize it. What if they just were so drunk? And it could have been anything. They could have been like fighting.
He could have fallen on the steps.
Men do, yeah. He could have fallen on the steps. I mean, the dog, like, if the dog bit him, he gets mad. He's freaking out about that. They fight. Like, one of the sons of the Alberts that was in the house at the time that testified, when they took pictures of his hands, all his knuckles were like bright red, and he was like cut up. And they're like, "Oh, what happened?" He was like, "Oh, I just drunk bar fight. I got in." But they could find, like, he couldn't prove that that's what happened. So he could have also
I mean, if he was going into a dark house, like she said, they could have thought he was, because I think she said he pretty much just walked right in.
Mm-hmm.
Like he knocked and walked
supposed
in.
to be there, though.
Right, but if they were drunk and didn't remember, or because I think it was her brother's house, because it was the woman invited him, but it wasn't her house because somebody came and picked her up. Her husband, I think, or brother, picked her up later or something like that. So it wasn't even her house that she invited them to.
Yeah.
So maybe the brother thought it was an intruder, and
it's also like Rachel said. I hadn't thought of. It could have they could have been doing drugs or something.
Yeah,
totally.
That would have been. I think that is the perfect reason for, like, if I was a cop and I went to a party, or I was a judge, or if I was a lawyer, anything like that, and I went to a party and I ended up doing, forgive me, like a line or whatever, if I was into that, I would want that covered up, because that could get me in a serious amount of trouble. Then it would go with, your mind isn't right because you're high, or your mind, you're not making the right decisions because you're high. And that could really affect someone's career to the point where they no longer can feed their children. They can no longer feed their wife, you know what I mean? Or husband, whatever the case may be. So.
And he was like a good cop. Like that.
Yeah.
His record was became a cop really young, like wanted to become a cop, and like it was like his pride and joy.
Wanted to help people and not use it for power.
So it would make total sense if he showed up and was like trying to respect the law.
And I think, from my understanding, the parents of the boyfriend who was killed is suing her. Like, you can sue people even though they're not found guilty. Kind of like they did with OJ. Like, you don't have to be, what is it, civil? Yeah. So she could still pay via her pocket.
Oh yeah.
Which is a lot, to me, is a way to really hurt somebody. Right. She ends up paying and spending all, giving all of her money to them.
I mean, it's going to be, I don't know how those work, but I would imagine it would be hard.
You don't have to prove behind a reasonable doubt that she's guilty. You just have to prove, I don't know, just
malice in some way.
I guess.
Or malice in some way.
They can use the fact. Yep, they can use the fact that she was intoxicated.
She drove him around and she was drunk.
She didn't check on him until hours later. That was her fault.
Because she is guilty of that. That's the one thing they found her guilty of in her trial, was operating.
So she could pay millions for that.
That's another thing I found quite weird, is if my fiance and I went and were in the same exact situation, I would not be leaving without him.
Yeah.
There would be no question of, I'm going to find out where you are and why you're not coming back to this truck, and you're either going to
I'd be like,
be hurt by
me. Can you just call the person in the house? Dude, we have to go inside.
Yeah. Also, like, imagine being like, this is how they are. Like, it's a tumultuous relationship. She's mad at him. She's drunk. She's like, fuck you, I'm leaving you. Like, how many times have you just been like, screw it? Like, I don't care.
In his truck too, she said.
Yeah.
Peace.
Like
she bounced.
Yeah, it's like a nice Lexus.
So her and her lawyer did sell the rights to the movie. So maybe we'll wait
until the movie comes out.
Oh, yeah, on the Lifetime Network. So we're here and we're at the end. So
I have to say, and this is just for me hearing what I've heard, what really stood out to me was the watch. Because I know that they track.
They do track, yep.
And if he was in the house and with the other evidence of what the other people did, it's going to be, they're going to look at her automatically. If something happens to my husband, Felicia's going to be the first person being arrested. So I will have to say that I do think that someone else's hands were in it.
So you're saying that
you got lucky. You got lucky.
I think that she was found guilty just because she was in a relationship with him, and the fact that she drove drunk. I think more evidence was against her because of that. But with all the other stuff, the watch is what stood out for me, because if it's tracking,
and it was
that's
like
the thing.
One of those split level homes. So boom, the second you walk in, you kind of basically have to go up or down. So it's like, that right there is evidence. He's in the house. He's going up or down.
So in this situation, love you, Rachel. But I have to side with Liz on this one.
Where's the gavel?
As Liz is doing a lap.
I will take it.
But everybody at home, I mean, we're on YouTube. What do y'all think?
Yeah.
What do y'all think? We are on YouTube. It's us again, Felicia and Jen on YouTube. Please check us out. We're on other platforms. We can't name all of them. Yeah. But tell us for real, what do you think about this? And you can, first of all, Lifetime is not paying us for all this.
Yes.
The documentary on Karen Reed is on Lifetime. Is it
I think it's
Rachel?
on HBO Max.
HBO Max.
There's a 2021.
So yeah, it's on there.
2020 is my jam.
If you
Look her
search
up.
it, you'll find it.
Give Rachel and I another case. And we'll
Yeah. Oh yes.
We'll
Please
see.
give us another case,
Give us
and
JonBenet Ramsey.
we will bring. Oh, do not get Rachel started on that. Oh, do not get started on that.
Do not get me started.
But yes, give us a topic. We will come back. We want to hear from you. But thank you, Liz. Thank you, Rachel.
guys.
Woo, thank you for not hurting each other. All right. See you guys.
See you.
Bye.
Bye.